Today we are going to talk about unfair trading. Today we are going to talk about unfair global trading. Unfair global trading. Today we are going to talk about unfair global trading. So, as we mentioned earlier in the other videos, that politicians, the job of politician is to fool people, telling us things to satisfy us and to give us hope. But today we are going to talk the reality from African God, Mungu God, the mother of all humankind. For bad and weakness, for good and strength, focus, creation and blessing. The main idea is about unfair global trading and politicians telling us about global warming. Politicians telling us global warming. They tell us in order for them to satisfy us, in order to be happy and satisfied. But there is no such thing. There is no such global warming. Our ancestors telling us that there is no such thing as global warming, but it is simply a unfair global trading. So most people do not understand various things, for example, temperatures and snow. So what is really temperature? I mean global temperature. What is it, global temperature? And what is this snow? So like a lot of people, they see snow and they're like, oh wow, I see a lot of snow. And then they don't see the snow for a long time. So they'll be like, wow, what's going on? And the politicians have to tell us in order to satisfy. So they tell us, oh, it's global warming. But their situation does not make any sense. If global warming means simply things getting warmer than normal, the temperatures are rising than normal, and then some things are becoming lesser and lesser and lesser. It'll be like lesser rain, will be like lesser snow. But then you may see like lesser snow, then you see more snow than you never seen before. Then you'll be like, what is global warming? But they don't really explain. So today we have this class called Mgana class. Mgana class is going to explain about all what's going on. Forget about global warming. There is no such thing. We are okay so far. We are okay. We have everything that we need here. We have enough water, which is rain, and oceans, and oxygen, and everything else. And nothing escapes from our planet. We are safe, except our activities is what making things, screwing things up. So, snow, like why we have snow more or less or here and there. So where is snow? And then if you pay attention, you see a lot of snow in European countries, very far away from equator. The far you go from equator, you experience a lot of snow. Like in North Pole, be a lot of snow. South Pole, be a lot of snow. And maybe European countries, England, and you go much further north like Norway, Scandinavian countries, Finland, Holland, Denmark, and then Russia. Be a lot of snow because they are very far north. And so why do they have a lot of snow? Well, snow takes, the most of it takes less sun. That's number one to have snow. Much less sun. the less sun you have, the more likely you are going to have snow or ice. The farther you go from the sun, you get snow. Then it's very confusing, like, well, the farther you go, you get snow. The farther you go from equator, you get snow. And then when you look at Africa, there is no snow. And it's in the equator. How come there's no snow in the equator? What he just said, or what you just said, there's more snow much farther away from equator. So, and in Africa we don't have snow because we are very, very far away from equator. But actually it's not far, far away from equator. That's not the reality. Far away from equator does not mean, or is not a sign of more snow or ice. What makes snow or ice is the indirect sun. The indirect of the sun is what makes snow conditions. What makes the snow condition is indirect of the sun. It's not far away from equator, not necessarily. For example, Mount Everest, on top of the Mount Everest, there is a lot of snow. And on top of many, many other mountains, there are a lot of snow, but Everest is very, very far away from Africa, very, very far away from equator. Where it has snow because it's far away from equator. But Mount Kilimanjaro, look at Mount Kilimanjaro is right on or very close to equator, about 5 degrees away or something. 5 degrees away within equator, the Mount Kilimanjaro, and it has snow on top. It's very, very close to equator. It has snow on top. Well, it's not the distance away from equator. It means indirect sun. So, Africa is the center of our planet Earth. We get the most sun there. So, yes, you get a lot of sun, and it's harder to have indirect sun. That's why we don't easily get snow in Africa. But the conditions that makes it indirect sun create the condition of snow and or ice. So the conditions that create snow or an ice is things that create or shape the indirect sun, which will be the mountain. Oh. Mount Kilimanjaro. Mount Kilimanjaro. This is a Mount Kilimanjaro. So we have snow on top of Mount Kilimanjaro. So the things that create the condition of snow or ice is the indirect of the sun. So now how could this create the indirect sun? The shape creates the indirect effect. The shape is what creates the indirect. So things that can cause the indirect of the sun are the distance from the equator or this such shape of the mountain. Anywhere you put the mountain, create the indirect. So when you have this mountain, let me make it here. When you have this kind of mountain with snow on top, here is the sun. So here is the sun. So the sun here becomes indirect. So that the tip of the mountain creates the indirect effect. So the sun does not necessarily hit the mountain precisely to create the temperature. So the temperature falls here, and therefore we get snow. So these shapes cause indirect of almost anything. That is our airplane. That's airplane. Did you see the airplane? Okay, that is airplane. So the airplane shaped with this shape, so then the wind becomes not effective. Then the airplane can accelerate precisely. And another shape will be like this is spear. Spear, when you throw a spear, it causes indirect shape. So that spear can flow precisely or easily into the air. It creates indirect effect. Or bullet. Bullet also create indirect shape in which the air does not hit there very well. So things that have indirect shape can create that temperature for the ice to form. And for example, in this Mount Kilimanjaro, and then here like that, there's an area called Arusha. This is Arusha. Arusha is very close to Mount Kilimanjaro. In Arusha is in Africa. Arusha is in Africa. The temperature is very, very good. It can be up to like maybe like 51 degrees Fahrenheit. 61 degrees Fahrenheit. It can be that cold in Arusha. It goes up to maybe like 88 degrees Fahrenheit in Arusha. It can go to 88 degrees Fahrenheit. That's very, very, very hot for Arusha. So you basically get about this 60 degrees in Arusha. It's beautiful. So it's cooler in Africa or in Arusha because of the shape. This shape creates indirect effect. That's why we have snow even in Africa. So you can have snow anywhere. It doesn't have to be whether Africa or where. And another thing is like things that why we have so much sun in Africa is because the opposite of this that cause indirect will be this flat area. So Africa is flat. So instead of shearing off the sun, therefore now Africa is getting the full amount of the sun, which is called direct sun. This is a direct sun. You can see the rays come down directly to the bottom. That's why Africa has so much sun. So that's why it forms a lot of snow in the mountain that, like that, the sun cannot stay there. But when flat or valley, then the sun heat builds up in there. So rain. When we get the rain, how come we get more rain or less rain? Well, rain needs first needs forest. Rain needs forest, river or lakes and ocean. There's not so much rain in Africa because we cut down trees. In Africa we cut down the trees, and when we cut down the trees, the land becomes flat. When we cut down the trees, the land becomes flat. When we have flat land, you have much lesser rain. When you have flat land, we have much lesser rain. So the lakes and rivers and oceans has a lot of water, and the water evaporates. Water evaporates from the lakes, from the rivers and ocean, and they form clouds. The water accumulates in the air and forms clouds. So when we cut down the trees, the clouds are in motion. The clouds are in constant motion. They don't stay there. When we cut down the trees, the cloud that formed from the trees or the forest release water into the air, the lakes release water in the air, and rivers release water in the air. Water gets in the air, becomes clouds. But when the land has no trees, the clouds become in constant motion. They keep moving, just they don't stay. So, but when we have trees, the trees create waves and slowing down the clouds. A lot of trees, like forests, like Amazon forest, Yozani forest, in the jungles, the clouds slow down. When the clouds slow down, they have the moment they can cool down, and therefore creating rain. So we should not cut down our trees. The more we cut down our trees, the land becomes flat, and the clouds up in the air keeps moving on. They don't stay down. So that's why we need trees to slow down, to create the effect of slowing down the cloud, and the cloud that will form into the rain. So we mentioned about unfair trade. So, and the politician, they mentioned about global warming. The politician mentioned about global warming, but it's not global warming. It is what we do. Most planets, like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and above, they have something in common. All planets have something in common. All planets. What is it the planets have in common? Round. All planets are round. And we have the sun here. This is Earth, maybe. This is our planet Earth right there. All planets, the Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and all these planets, they have something in common, and what they have in common, these planets are round. So it is essential for the planets to remain round. And when these planets formed, or they were forming, they were not round. They were spinning at a very, very high speed, which made this specific shape. And that these shapes are perfect shapes. The shapes of these planets are very perfect, not disturbed, which makes it enable them to spin consistently on its axis. This planet shaped from spinning so fast, so very, very fast, and maintain its specific surround. It is very important to maintain that shape in order to maintain its axis. So the problem is this is a sun. This is a sun here, and this is our planet Earth. This is our planet Earth. It spins very fast to maintain its axis and distance. It spins to maintain it has its axis. This is its axis. It spins to maintain its position to the distance to the sun. So its shape consistently is very essential to maintain its position. For example, there is something called gyroscope. 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 This is a gyroscope. Is a motion. Is a motion in which Earth spins. For example, that's its gyroscope. This is the effect of gyroscope. It spins and maintains by itself because it's so perfect. I can lift, I can drop, I can move up and left, but it maintains its position because the way it's designed. This toy. It is very nice. It maintains its orientation, called gyroscope. This motion, so our planet Earth has to maintain like this, not disturbed, in order to maintain where it's supposed to be. Okay, so now the problem is this is called unfair trade. The unfair trade is messing up our planet. Unfair trade is messing up our planet. So when we do unfair trade, removing a lot of materials from Africa, for example, to European countries. Removing a lot of materials from Africa to another country. That's number one problem. We are now returning things from other places to Africa. We're disturbing the orientation of our gyroscope. We're disturbing that orientation of the gyroscope. We're disturbing this. It will not maintain its position because we're moving a lot of goods from Africa, a lot of sand. We do constant mining, moving a lot of stuff from this place, shifting to other European countries and China. That destabilizing the Earth rotation, the Earth axis. So here's I showed here. This is a regular line, which is equator. This is the equator, which is 0 degrees. Goes around Africa, a little below, around Tanzania there, and Kenya, and all the way Ghana down there. You just keep going. This is equator. So the Earth spins on this line to generate our days. This is how we got our how we get our days, day and night. And this prime meridian line is almost like axis, the Earth axis. So here is the original line. Here's the original line where the Earth used to be spinning on this line. Now the Earth is shifted. The Earth is shifted. It's not stabilizing anymore by doing unfair trades, too much taking resources from Africa to other countries. We are not taking anything back to Africa because unfair trade disabling our rotation, our Earth rotation. You're supposed to be rotating on this axis. This is a prime meridian. It's supposed to be over here. Now you moved much farther to the east. Moved much farther to the east. So therefore the Earth shifted to the left. The Earth shifted to the left. And therefore the equator line dropped down. The equator line dropped down. Instead of being in Tanzania, Kenya, now it's gone to someplace like Malawi. So that's where the equator is right now. It's not in that nice place. But the politicians are not telling us. The Earth is shifting from its original place. That's why we have these unknown weather conditions. These weather conditions we are creating by having unfair trade, which unbalancing. Like China are building islands. To build island takes a lot of mass, a lot of weight, products, resources. And in Dubai, they're building islands with a lot of buildings in it. A place was supposed to be nothing. Now there is something which is very big, which is disturbing the balance. And also taking a lot of places from one place to another place makes the void. So that's it for today. I just want to tell that there is no such thing, global warming. The Earth is perfect. It does not lose, does not gain anything. It is the way it is. But the unfair trade is tilting our planet. Unfair trade is tilting our planet. Unfair trade is shifting our planet. That's the danger of our planet. So that's it. For good and strength, for bad and weakness, focus, creation, and blessing. Send things back to Africa.